Target announced plans late last week to roll out a new Gen AI tool to team members at all of its nearly 2,000 stores by August, becoming the first major retailer, it claims, to share that it is bringing this technology to store team members across the US. According to a Target press release, the tool is called Store Companion. It is a Gen AI powered chatbot designed by Target that can answer on the job process questions, coach new team members, support store operations management, and more. Target's in-house technology team used real frequently asked questions and process documents from its store teams across the US. The team then worked quickly, taking the project from its initial testing phase to planned rollout in just 6 months. Target is currently piloting the tool at about 400 stores, using the team's feedback to improve the experience ahead of the chain-wide rollout later this summer. Kelly, we're going to go to you first here. The question is Target right to rush this technology out to stores? Thoughts?
I would say yes. I think this one's kind of a no-brainer, Anne, and I really like it for a few reasons. So first off, the one hesitation I had was, okay, there's going to be a lot of learning, time for the robot to understand how things work in Target. So, you run a bit of a risk of getting the wrong advice provided through that tool or people not understanding. But it sounds like, 6 months, 400 stores, they've been doing those checks on the upfront. So assuming that's gone well and proven out to be adding value, which it sounds like it has, I think it's great. And it's such a good opportunity to free up time for their teams to go focus on, higher order problems, spending time with customers. And I think it's going to be an incredible engine for them to learn about what the problems are on the ground in the stores. Where do people actually need help? Where do they need to be, thinking about new training programs? So I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree. And big news out of Target. I mean, this was like one of those headlines where it was like, all right, yes, Target, they're doing a really cool tech deployment. They're using new technology in a really smart and intuitive way. And especially for the team members, like so great, I think. Jeff, I want to go to you next. What would you add into what Kelly said?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we've got Target on here a couple times today.
Yeah,
they are throwing a lot at the wall, and I think this one is certainly meant to help them on the cost side, and get the process efficiencies within the store streamlined and more impactful. Obviously masked by Gen AI and hopefully making everybody's job a little bit easier under the roof and in the four walls. I think it's smart. I think it's the right move. They'll obviously learn a bunch out of these first 400 stores, and we'll see how they do this. I think they're obviously one of the first retailers to announce this publicly, and you'll probably see a lot of retailers behind them start to move this direction.
Yeah, I mean, that was a question for me. I mean, Walmart has been using
me too,
Sam for a long time.
Question.
I was like, are they really the first ones to try this? But maybe they I don't know. I tried to dig up some info last night and see if Walmart wasn't using this across the chain, but according to what
Sam's
I could
Club,
find,
and they're like, Target saying we're the first general merchant, whatever.
Yes. So
I'm with you.
There might be some semantics in those terms, but Chris, I'm really excited to get your opinion because you were in stores, you were rolling out things like similar to this. What are your thoughts, and especially the question around the rollout decision, knowing how teams are working with this and deploying new technology in stores?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, so first of all, I queried my old store manager buddies out in the field and asked them, and they seem pretty excited about it, But I think to the point that, Jeff was making and you were alluding to too, it does seem like there's a rash of announcements coming from Target and a rash of announcements claiming we're the first to do something, which, as you know, on this show is always something I'm very skeptical of why are we hearing so much all of a sudden? So, when I put it that way, I am a little worried that the rollout could be a little too quick.
Okay.
They said it started 6 months ago. They tested in 400 stores. How long did you test it then? Because it can't be that long of a trial. And the reason I bring that up too is because I actually just wrote an article in partnership with Microsoft where we looked at what are some of the issues when you try to deploy generative AI at the store level, and particularly security becomes a factor. And so when you think about that, I'll put that in context. So previously training for all your store team members was done on like desktop computers in the break room, or even paper training manuals, honestly.
Yeah, binders. Yeah.
Right. And so now essentially what Target's saying here is they're putting all of that information into a database so it can be easily accessed through language model queries, through mobile devices, I'm guessing. And that's what we've seen in the photo shots of this, the press shots of this. And so, but all that means there's more nodes for a breach. Like if you have devices now with access to all this information, there's more nodes for people to try to want to get that information, or to try to fish for information from unsuspecting employees who may or may not be trained well in terms of the security protocols related to those devices. So, overall, I think the application makes sense, but I don't know, like I do worry they may be going a little bit too fast. And Target, if anyone, does not have a good history on the security side of things. So I think that's something that has to be considered here.
Do they have to do that? I mean, is there that concern now that it exists in the PDAs themselves? Like, I mean, I would imagine that if they're using these already, there's already security concerns in place, Chris, or is that not, is it really the Gen AI or the bad actors that can come in and like infiltrate the messaging that's going through?
The concerns are higher because they're now using the devices in different ways. They're like talking to them now through the language queries, whereas before it was probably just task lists on their PDAs. And so that opens up opportunities for, potentially, good scammers to come in and find new ways to get people to do things, or to get access to information. Or the other security risk is internal too. Like, does suddenly some type of information on the HR side get into the database and somebody now has access to it as an employee that shouldn't as well? That's another issue that could be confounding here as well.
The last question that I have, Chris, for you was just and not Mike, I was with Kelly. I was like, listen, the more information you can plug into these things, the more people that you can get like asking questions. Like, yes, you can pull from your frequently asked questions that people submit, but like this is going out to almost 2,000 stores and all the employees in there, and you're collecting information in real time and being able to kind of train this tool to its full capacity versus just doing it in a select subset of stores, and potentially early adopters from those who, on the store's behalf from a tech product rollout standpoint. But I'm wondering, Chris, what your thoughts are about adoption from the employees. Like, to me, that's the biggest question here is like, if this thing doesn't work, like, are you going to get people to use this tool? And is it something that they're really seeing benefit from? And so I guess that would be my last question for you is like, do you see the benefit though for the employees themselves from a tool like this? And is it something that, they're actually going to pick up and start using day to day?
Yeah, 100%. And that was the general tone of the conversations I had with people out in the field, that they're excited about it. They want to use it. That the usage of it is still very limited at this point in time to understand the full extent and the power of it, but they are excited about the opportunity to engage with the technology. Yes, 100%.